Hi all, today I will talk to you about um, chapter 8. Okay, chapter 8 is on data warehouse. Data warehouse is the basic foundation block of business intelligence, so it's a very important chapter. We have several assignments on this chapter. Also, it's before we can work on the assignments, it's very important that we understand the basic building block of business intelligence, which is data warehouse. Okay, before I start lecturing on the topics, let me walk you over the topics that we would be discussing from chapter 8 and the way we would do it. Okay, today we will talk about what is a data warehouse, what are the different characteristics of a data warehouse, what are the different types of data warehouses like data marts, operational data stores, enterprise data warehouse, what is a metadata. We will talk about the data warehousing process. It is very important for all of us to understand how the entire data warehousing process works. We will also talk about data integration, extraction, transformation, and loading. We will talk about the different benefits of data warehouse. We will talk about the data warehousing vendors. We will talk about data warehousing development approaches, including Inman and Kimball model. Then today we will talk about real-time versus traditional data warehousing. We won't cover today two topics, which is dimensional modeling and star schema. This is what we would leave for the next day, and dimensional modeling and star schema is basically used for designing a data warehouse. I would like you to know how to design a data warehouse so that you can build a data warehouse in class, and which is our assignment 3. So it's very important that we understand dimensional modeling and star schema. So next day I will be talking about dimensional modeling and star schema and assignment 3. Okay, so today the rest I would cover today. Okay, let me pull up the PowerPoint slides then. Okay, so I'll go over the definition of data warehouse first. What is a data warehouse? Data warehouse is actually a pool of data for decision making. Okay, it's like a database. It's a humongous, huge database where we store data for decision making. It's a repository of current and historical data. What are the characteristics of a data warehouse? The characteristics of a data warehouse are that it is subject oriented. Subject oriented means it is organized by detailed subject such as sales, customers, products. A data warehouse is integrated. That means that it has data from different sources, and the data are placed in a consistent format so that there is no naming conflict, no discrepancies among units of measurement. Also, data warehouse is time variant. That means historical data is stored. It can detect trends, okay, deviations, long-term relationships. It can have daily, weekly, and monthly views. Non-volatile, it means that users cannot change or update the data. A data warehouse can be web-based, which provides easy access, so it becomes easily accessible. It uses a relational or a multi-dimensional structure. It uses the client-server architecture to provide easy access to end users, and it also provides real-time or active data access and analysis capabilities. Data warehouse also includes metadata. Metadata is data about data, a data about how the data are organized, or the rules for organizing data in the database, and how we can effectively use them. Okay, so these are some of the characteristics of a data warehouse. There are three types of data warehouses. One is called the data mart. Data mart is a subset of a data warehouse. a scaled down version of a data warehouse. It generally has fewer subject areas, fewer users. Okay, so for example, if a data warehouse is for the entire enterprise, data mart can be for a functional unit in the organization. You can have a marketing data mart, you can have a MIS data mart, okay, which is a subset of the bigger data warehouse. Dependent data mart is a subset that is created from the data warehouse. And independent data mart is basically a small warehouse, data warehouse, which is designed for a strategic unit or a department. The second type of data warehouse, the first type is data mart. The second type of data warehouse is called operational data store. Operational data store, or ODS. ODS consolidates data from multiple systems and provides a near real-time integrated view of current data. ODS, operational data stores, information which is used for running the business on an ongoing basis and also for short-term operational decision making. An ODS is seldom more than a month or two old. Then what is an enterprise data warehouse, EDW? EDW is an all-encompassing large-scale data warehouse that is used across the enterprise for decision making. It requires the integration of data from many sources into a standard format. Okay. Please, I have given you the URL for a podcasting from Continental in your syllabus. Listen to that. It talks about how Continental Airlines uses EDW real time and how they have benefited from that. I would ask you to use that. Listen to that podcast, okay? So enterprise data warehouse is a large scale data warehouse for the whole enterprise. Okay. Next, we will talk about a very important topic, the topic of data warehousing. Okay, the process itself. How do we do the data warehousing? It is much broader in scope. Data warehousing is the entire process of data extraction, data transformation, and loading of data to the warehouse and the access of data by end users and applications. Listen carefully once again. It is the entire process of data extraction, transformation, and loading of data to the warehouse, and not only loading but access of that data by end users and applications for performance analysis. So look at the process now. What happens is, first, the data is imported from internal and external sources. Look at the sources. It can be internal sources like the company's ERP, legacy system, point of sale terminals, other OLTP web-based systems, or it can be from external sources. So the data then is extracted from those sources. It is cleaned and organized for consistency. Then it is loaded into the enterprise data warehouse. Okay. Now, after that, from the enterprise data warehouse, the data can be loaded into data marts, which are created as subsets of the enterprise data warehouse. Or we can load data directly into the data marts and consolidate the data marts into the enterprise data warehouse, and then the data which is now loaded in either the data marts or the data warehouse are accessed by the front-end applications for performance analysis. Okay, so the major components of a data warehousing process. This process of data warehousing is extremely important because there are several assignments based on this. This is the foundation of BI. You need to know how a data warehousing process takes place, the whole process. Okay. First of all, once again, I'll repeat data sources. Data sources are internal systems like ERP systems, legacy systems, point of sale terminals, OLTP, web-based systems, or it can be external systems. Data are sourced from these systems. Okay. Then what happens is, after the data are sourced, Jasmine, keep your question there. Since I'm lecturing on chapter 2 now, I would get back to you, maybe via Blackboard, okay? Could you hear me? Okay, back to the lecture. So data sources, data are sourced from the internal operational systems or from external systems. And then what happens is we have to extract the data, and we do that extraction using commercial ETL software. Commercial ETL software are provided by several vendors like Oracle, like SAS, like IBM, like Microsoft, and so on and so forth. Then what happens is data is loaded into a staging area where they are transformed and cleaned. They are transformed from the way they are now to whichever format we need it for the data warehouse, okay? And they needed to be cleaned for errors. After that, they are loaded into the data warehouse. So data warehouse, the enterprise data warehouse is the comprehensive database which will have all the data loaded into it that would support decisions making. Then we would also have a metadata, which is basically, which will include rules for organizing the data. Now the enterprise data warehouse, from that several subsets can be created as data marts for different departments, like data mart for marketing, data mart for engineering, or data mart for finance, so on and so forth. Now then we use a middleware tool, middleware software. Example would be Cold Fusion, that would enable access to the data warehouse from a variety of front-end applications. So the data are sourced from internal or external systems. They are stored in a staging area where they are extracted from the data sources using a commercial ETL software. Then they are stored into the staging area for cleaning and transformation. After they are cleaned and transformed, they are loaded into the enterprise data warehouse. They can be put in different data marts if desirable, and then a middleware tool such as Cold Fusion is used for enabling access to the data in the data warehouse by the front-end applications. Now once the front-end applications or the users, they access the data, what do they do with the data? They analyze the data for decision making. Okay. Data warehouse architecture can be 2-tier or 3-tier. 2-tier is basically when the application and the data warehouse, the application software and the data warehouse, they are in the same machine. And 3-tier architecture is on different machines, when you have the data warehouse in one computer, one server, the data warehouse in one server, the application software in another server. This is done because 3-tier architecture is always faster. Then we will talk about integration. Okay, integration basically covers 3 processes. First is accessing the data, then second is data federation, which is combining the different views of data, and then change capture, capturing the changes to the data. Okay, then we will talk about ETL, which is the extraction, transformation and load process. ETL is the process through which data are loaded into the data warehouse. Okay, ETL is the process through which data are loaded into the data warehouse. So extraction, as you have seen, is selecting data from one or more sources like operational systems, point of sale terminals, legacy systems, ERP, and reading the selected data. Transformation involves converting data from their original form to whatever form the data warehouse needs. This often involves cleansing of the data to remove as many errors as possible. Then loading. Loading is putting the converted data into the data warehouse. Okay. So this is ETL process. And commercially available ETL software do the work. We will talk about the data warehousing development approaches. It can be top-down or bottom-up. Top-down is the in-one model where we have the enterprise data warehouse, the big-scale database first, and then subsets of that data marts are created. We also have the Kimball model, which is the bottom-up, where we first create the data marts and then consolidate them into an enterprise data warehouse. As I told you before, the star schema and the dimensional modeling we won't cover today. We will cover it next time along with assignment 3. Now I would talk to you about real-time data warehouse. Real-time data warehouse, once again, you hear the Continental podcasting. The URL is given in the syllabus for Continental success owing to real-time data warehouse. Real-time data warehouse is basically a data warehouse. It is also called an active data warehouse. It is a data, it contains data that are updated on an ongoing basis as business transactions occur. Okay. Data are updated on an ongoing basis as business transactions occur. Benefits are huge. People from all level of the organization, especially those that support customers, can have access to the data, and that would empower them. Those who interact with the customers are empowered. The suppliers are also empowered by having access to current information. So the benefits are extended to the tactical and to the operational decision-making levels of the organization. If you compare the traditional and the active or the real-time data warehouse, once again, traditional data warehouse supports strategic decisions only. It helps top-level people in the organizations. But active data warehouse, it helps people in all level of the organizations, operational and tactic decisions making. Okay. That's basically the most important benefit, that it empowers people in all levels of the organizations. Okay. Okay. I will also cover the benefits of data warehousing, and there are several benefits to data warehouse. It allows, because we are storing data which is clean, which is company's data, which is our competitors' data, which is clean, which is consistent, which is error-free almost. So it allows end users to perform extensive analysis. So it allows a corporate, consolidated view of corporate data. It's timely. It enhances systems performance, and it is also most of the time web-based, so it provides easy access. Then indirect benefits are many. It gives you competitive advantage because you have information, current information. It enhances customer service and satisfaction because you can provide customers with, because you have access to data real time, you can answer your customer questions then and then. It improves decision making. It helps in reforming business processes. The benefits are endless. Okay, so let me see what are the different things we have covered today. Today, as I told you, I would cover the most of chapter 2. Only things that I would not cover today would be our star schema, dimensional modeling and multidimensionality, which I would be covering next time along with assignment 3. Okay, today we talked about data warehouse, which is a pool of data for decision making. We talked about the characteristics of data warehouse, such as being subject oriented, integrated, client server, uses client server, then uses real time, and so on and so forth. Then we talked about 3 different types of data warehouses such as data mart, operational data source, and enterprise data warehouse. We talked about the rule of organizing data in the data warehouse, which is a metadata. We talked about the data warehousing process, which involves data sources, ETL software, then enterprise data warehouse, data marts maybe, and then middleware, and then application and users who would be accessing this data for analysis. We talked about the process of data integration. We talked about what is extraction, what is transformation and loading, some of the benefits of data warehouse. The data warehouse vendors. Some of the vendors are Microsoft, IBM, Oracle, SAP. Okay, they're all Teradata. They are all vendors to data warehouse. Then we talked about top-down and bottom-up approaches to data warehouse development. We talked about Inman and Kimball model. What is real-time data warehousing, having access to data real-time, and the differences between real-time and traditional data warehousing. That is chapter 2, part 1. Next day,